Hi, my name is Kevin Toll. I'm the owner of Toll Driving School, and I'm also the instructor at Oyster River High School. I've been doing driver's ed for the last 40 years, and it's been my privilege to be at Oyster River High School for the last 25. I'd like to take a moment and kind of explain what the driver's ed program at Oyster River High School looks like. There's a component in the classroom for 30 hours, which will run between 5 and 7 weeks. Let's take a look at the classroom portion of driver's ed. Since we meet about 4, maybe 6 hours per week, we need to cover a lot of material in a short period of time. Most of the content will be found in the state manual, but we also use a supplemental textbook, Responsible Driving, that we'll use to dovetail the information that we cover in class. Now, some of the topics that we'll be talking about, of course, are pertaining to laws, basic rules, sign signals, pavement markings, but really driver's ed will also cover things like road rage, distracted driving. We'll talk about the vehicle, inside and out. We check your oil. We have a component which is to know your vehicle, where we find in our car manual about gas type. We talk about oil type. We talk about capacity of oils and fluids. We're not trying to make you a mechanic, but we are trying to have a basic knowledge of what we should be looking for when we drive. We'll be talking about driving in bad weather. We'll be talking about driving emergencies, alcohol and drugs as it affects you as a person, as well what to do when we encounter people out on the roadway who we may suspect have been drinking and driving. We have a component on insurance, registering, titling a car. We talk about sharing the road with large trucks, motorcycles, pedestrians. We have a great component dealing with seatbelts and airbags and helmets and why it's so important to make sure that every time that you're in a vehicle that you are safe. And of course, there will be worksheets, there'll be testing throughout the program. And at the very end of the program, we are going to have a final to make sure that you're well prepared. But once they get familiar with all the instrument panels, the buttons, the levers, the gauges and everything, and we go out into the road, I basically have 3 routes that I would take a student on because it's all evaluation. So a student that's done quite a bit of driving will do some basic driving in a downtown area, a rural area, left turns, right turns, traffic lights, yield signs. There's a circle that we go through, and it gives me some idea of where they are as a driver. Now, I know, first time out driving, they may make mistakes that they normally don't make because they're in a different car that they've ever driven before, and they're with me, and I'm different, and that will make them nervous. If a student's only done about 3 or 4, we stay in neighborhoods, still work on turns. Basically, that's the main thing that we work on, is turns, stops, position on the road, controlling speed. If you've never driven before, we go to the parking lot. We spend the whole hour in a parking lot mastering, or as much as we can in that hour, making left turns and right turns, stopping, accelerating, and we do that over and over and over again. Now, if you haven't driven with your son or daughter yet, I understand. I don't mind taking people out for the first time, but it does put them behind kind of like a disadvantage to get the most out of those 10 hours because we really have to spend the first 3 hours just on basic driving skills. So when I get a student that has some basic driving skills, we can kind of progress through the rest of our required hours behind the wheel. And let me explain hours 2 through 10. Your second hour driving, we exclusively do a lot in reverse. We do backing to the right, backing to the left, from a driveway out into a 2-way roadway. We use our side mirrors, left and right. We use our rear view mirror. I basically get an idea of, do they have a good concept of where they are in reverse? Do they know where the back end is? Do they know where the side of the vehicle is when we get close to an edge or something? So reverse is usually our focus on our second drive. Third drive is angle parking, which is the easiest of all parkings. It's off at a 45-degree angle. I hope to make a video on angle parking at some point soon. And we go into different downtown areas to practice angle parking. The fourth hour out is lane changes, which I believe is one of the most difficult things to do in driving. So we work on the use of our signals, checking our mirrors, looking over our shoulder, making sure that we stay in our lane, that we keep our hands still, our speed constant, that we don't get too close to cars as we move over. The fifth time out is perpendicular parking, which I feel is one of the hardest types of parking. So we'll be parking to the left, we'll be parking to the right, and I do have a video on YouTube that you can watch on how I teach perpendicular parking. Your sixth time out will be parallel parking, which is a requirement for the state. In order to get your driver's license, the first thing that they make you do in a parking lot is to parallel park with cones. Now, I don't think it's that hard to learn how to parallel park. So we take you through the steps of how to parallel park, how to use your side mirrors, how to use the backup camera, and how to get in between two cars. Your seventh time out will be driving onto a highway. On the route that I usually take, there are two traffic circles, and we'll be getting on-ramps and off-ramps along the way, and that will be our seventh drive out. Our eighth drive is going to a perpendicular parking lot and learning how to go backwards into a perpendicular parking spot. We do it at a 90-degree angle, and we also learn how to do it at a 45-degree angle. Your last two drives with me are basically review, and hopefully that will be near the end of the program. That way, once you have completed the classroom portion and you've completed your observation, now that you've done your last two drives with me, you will be ready to go get tested for your driver's license. Discouraged. A driver's test is only about 20 minutes long. To me, I don't think it's a good gauge whether you're a good driver. I think it just shows some basic skills that you can do. And then from there, it's really up to you when you're out on the road. For me, I think a better indicator of whether you're a good driver is if we were to review your driving after a year. Have you been stopped? Have you been involved in a crash? Do people feel comfortable in the car with you when you drive? You'll know if you're a good driver or not. People will tell you.